All right, folks, it's 11 o'clock. We are going to wait just a moment, as many folks are just getting on right now, to start the webinar. All right, good morning. Happy Thursday, and welcome to Spinitar's webinar about our Welcome-Check solution. I do know that everyone's time is valuable. We're going to go ahead and get started so we can do our best to keep us under the allotted time of 45 minutes. First, a couple of housekeeping items. This presentation is being recorded, and we do plan on sending it out to our registered guests at the end of this webinar. So for those that need to leave early, we will be sure to get you a copy for future reference. Also, should you have any questions throughout this webinar, please submit those questions through the Q&A feature on this platform at any time during the webinar. And we will get to as many questions as we can at the end of the overview, time permitting. If we do run out of time, we will follow up with each of you to be sure your questions get answered. My name is John Harmick, VP of Sales here at Spinitar, and one of my roles is to listen to our clients, both large and small, and continually align our offerings and solutions with the needs of our current and future customers. Today's webinar is on Welcome-Check, a temperature scan and facial recognition solution. Welcome-Check is a hands-free thermal imaging device that can automatically measure human body temperature prior to allowing people into your facility. Welcome-Check also has advanced facial recognition features. Welcome-Check allows access to real-time data and statistics about people who have entered your facility using the Welcome-Check technology. Welcome-Check also allows you to keep your people safe when they return to work and their learning spaces. Today's webinar is focused on a topic at the top of the list for businesses, education, and health system environments. That is, how do we keep our employees, students, and customers safe? Welcome vendors and visitors to our building in a post-COVID-19 environment. We think Welcome-Check offers up a great solution for all of those challenges. So without further ado, let me introduce Zach Stewart, product specialist for our Welcome-Check, who will now conduct a live demonstration of the technology and software, as well as give you more insight as to how this solution is solving deployment challenges during this difficult time. Following Zach's presentation, I will be back to review product pricing and subscription information, as well as we will answer as many questions you may have submitted in the Q&A form. So, Zach, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, John, for the great introduction, overview of Spinitar and the Welcome-Check solution. As noted, my name is Zach Stewart. I'm the product specialist here for Spinitar's Welcome-Check product. So, without further ado, I want to get into what this product can do for you and maybe some applications you may be looking at. First to note that this Welcome-Check solution is really out there, again, to provide peace of mind for everyone either coming back to work or customers coming into your facilities. This is an automatic, an instant measurement temperature scanning device that also provides mask detection and facial recognition. These features are very useful, as we'll be able to demonstrate in this product demonstration here. We can hold up to about 30,000 scanned records and files on the device for facial recognition if you choose to use that option on the product. A few key things to note with the product and system that you'll be looking at today. It comes in really three different flavors. Is a wall-mounted version that can be wall-mounted to a wall of your choice. We also provide a floor-standing stand that can be used as a kind of a podium in a lot of different applications. We also provide a table-mounted version. Something to note is the wall-mounted version is not interchangeable with the floor or table stand, but the floor and table stand are interchangeable with each other. So upon purchasing to make sure you're evaluating the application that you're putting these products into prior to procurement. Something to note on the right-hand side, showing in this image, are the different interconnections of the device if you choose to go beyond just a simple setup that we'll go over today. This is a commercial rated product, so as such, this is not an Android tablet or anything you can buy on Amazon or Best Buy. This is not a touchscreen device, and as a commercial rated product, we provide commercial rated interconnections. As noting here in this image, we provide two different WiGAN connections. One is a WiGAN input and WiGAN output, both rated for WiGAN 26 and 34 protocols, mainly used for security access systems and other technology facility systems. We also provide interconnecting to the device. It can be wirelessly connected over a network. It can also be hardwired over a network as well, using the RJ45 Ethernet connection. There's also two different USB connections. One is a host A, and the other one's an OTG for other various devices and peripheral setup. There's also a contact closure relay connection and RS-232 connection for more advanced configurations and integrations if you choose to use the product as such. Something to just keep in mind is this product can be very simple and user-friendly out of the box, or as advanced as you may want to integrate it on day one or down the road. A few highlights of the technology that we'll go over today. The system provides a plus or minus 0.5 degrees Celsius accuracy, which translates roughly to about 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep in mind that this is a temperature screening device, not a medical diagnostic device. So as such, we are providing screening for abnormal temperatures to be able to be used in your own back to work or open business strategies. This is not a touch screen, again, so we are not requiring anyone to touch the screen, so we're eliminating the need for or potential harm of passing germs across the device to other people. We do provide third-party integration options through more advanced connections if you'd like to use the software APK and other deeper integrations if you choose to that would have additional costs with the system API. This is also has an incorporated IC card reader built into the device on day one. So if you choose to use the built-in IC card reader, you can use this as a badge recognition system. It does have the ability to, again, toggle on or off temperature, mask, and facial recognition. So you can use one of or all three of the functions of the device. Something to note, beyond the hardware, we do provide as part of the Welcome-Check subscription model and service, we also provide a software that provides more management capabilities and enterprise-like features to help your deployment of these devices, which we'll also get into as part of the live demonstration. A few things to note that this software and other parts of the subscription model set up for the Welcome-Check product includes unlimited training with dedicated product specialists, EasyPass software, which we'll go into that I'm referencing here, access to all future software updates as well, onboarding of the EasyPass software workshop with a product specialist when purchasing up to about 5 or more units. There's also unlimited EasyPass integration consultations with Spinitar's programming team. Custom software integrations can also be available as referenced utilizing our third-party APK and system APIs. You also get Help Point Plus provided by Spinitar for their service program. You also are provided with on-site informational web support portal and following resources. You also are provided other manuals, documents, live help desk, and a lot of other support metrics to make sure that this product works well in your environment on day one and beyond. So a couple things to note with the software. It also helps you with, again, some key markers as shown on screen, levels of accountability, monitoring, and data, which we'll go into more detail in the software demonstration shortly. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my webcam here and stop presenting. and I will switch over to the camera, which it seems my battery may have failed, of course. So just one moment while this happens every once in a while. It'll only take a second. But what I'll show here in this demonstration is the unit, the hardware device setup on day one, out of the box in standalone offline mode. This should pop up here. There we go. And so it can be as simple and easy to operate on day one within about 10 minutes of configuration to really conduct 3 essential things if you want it to, including temperature scanning. I have it set up to do a pass or fail based on a temperature threshold that I created and have it set to. Maybe your guidelines are very specific and you want a specific temperature to allow a pass into your facility. I also have it conducting a mask check, a mask detection, whether or not I'm wearing a medical mask or bandana, to providing a pass or fail to allow access to the facility. And I also have it set up conducting facial recognition based on a photo that I uploaded to the device locally. Again, all of these pieces I'll walk through can be set up again within about 10 minutes with only power to the wall, no crazy amount of integration required, maybe just for your day one, just wanting to take temperatures. So I'll go ahead and put my mask on here and walk through the device and just how easy it is to use. Something to note is, as you see on screen here, is the device in idle mode. So it's just waiting in standby, just showing that the device is powered on and waiting for me to come up and get scanned. So I'll come up about 4.5 feet away from the device, and it'll show that I'm within the field of view of the device. So it'll turn on. And what you can't hear, because I have the audio turned down a little bit so it doesn't interrupt our phone call here, is there's an audible narration stating as I get into field of view to please come close and have my temperature taken. So I'll come a little closer as the device is narrating me to, and I'll come within about 3 feet to 1.5 feet to have my temperature, mask, and facial recognition detected. So as you can see there, it acts pretty quickly within about 1 to 2 seconds. I'll do this a few more times so you can really see how it functions. So again, come up 3 feet to 1.5 feet. And there at the end, you'll see my employee photo that it's detecting and matching from as well. So the cool thing here is it's actually doing facial recognition while I'm wearing a mask, which is pretty unique. So it'll show the temperature on screen there, 97.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So it'll pass me for temperature, mask, and facial recognition there at the end. So I'll go ahead and take off my mask so I can show you what a mask detection fail would look like. So if you have mask detection turned on, again, you can turn it on or off. But for this demonstration, I'll show you what fail would look like. So I'll come up to the device without wearing a mask. So I'll go ahead and take my temperature, but it won't allow entry. And at the very end there, it'll provide a red visual notification. It says no entry, and it says please wear a mask. And the audible narration as well is also stating to please wear a mask. So I have a gentle reminder if the place I'm walking into is requiring that or not. I'll do that one more time so you can see how quick that works. So I'll take my temperature, and it'll notice again that I'm not wearing a mask as well. I do have a hot cup of water that I'll show too of a temperature fail on the device. So I'll put this right above my forehead so it'll recognize me as a person before it can actually do the scan. So it's showing on screen there the temperature. And I'll do that one more time. There's a red visual notification at about 111 degrees Fahrenheit. So I probably need to go see a doctor here. But again, we're only screening for abnormal temperatures. So if someone was to get scanned and you want to provide a diagnosis, you'll want to look at your own guidelines of how you want to administer that. That's really is how easy it is to use. And on day one, again, all of what I just showed you for the system to work was easy to set up in about 10 minutes or so, with no advanced configuration required. So that concludes the live device demonstration portion of this webinar, and I'm going to switch over now to the software portion of the webinar here and show my screen. So 1 second. So now everyone should be able to see my screen here with a web user interface of the system management software that comes with the device. So what you're looking at, maybe on day 60, you want to spin up this software and some advanced features to the system. This software would come with your subscription, and you can spin the software up to an on-prem server within your environment or to the cloud, which would allow other capabilities and access. However you want to administer the system is at your own discretion. But in this console view, and the software really unlocks a lot of other use cases and management capabilities within the system, which are very helpful. So I'll walk through a couple of key points on this, not get too in the weeds with everyone, but just know that it's really well built, and the user interface here is very simple and easy to use, as you can see. So at first glance, when you open the console view and you have access to the system, you'll be able to see how many devices are online or offline, and which is very helpful for proactive management of a system beyond, say, just one device. So you're not having to send a support team member out to multiple locations. You can really pinpoint, maybe where an issue might be. You can also see today's traffic. So you can see how many users have been passed or failed through the system. And you can also pull a report off that as well. So you have kind of instant metrics to take a look at when you log in. What's very useful too, if you choose to use this beyond day one, just temperature scanning, you can also turn on attendance tracking. So this can also be employee HR management for tracking attendance of certain persons you have inside of your personnel database, which we'll walk through in a little bit. But it can be also very helpful, maybe beyond just temperature screening as a tool and device. So it's not just one trick horse here. You also have the ability for real-time monitoring, which is helpful, and you'll be able to see, as I refresh this as well, some of the more recent scans from the demo that we just conducted as well. So it's uploaded pretty quickly. It's all going to be based on your network and how fast that is. But inside of real-time monitoring, we'll be able to see, if someone was a registered employee in green or not, or a visitor, or if we have stranger mode turned on in the system, we'll be able to see if they're an unregistered user. Maybe someone who's just we haven't logged into the system yet. But we can see, what location or device they were scanned at, date and time, and maybe why they failed or why they passed as well. So very useful information just upon logging in. In-device management is a very helpful, I would call an enterprise level tool, allowing us to manage all of the devices really in one user interface with a lot of granularity. So in here, we can group different devices, maybe per building, per location, per hallway, per door, even if we want to. And then we can start providing certain access levels and privileges shown here in the associate device group. So maybe, a certain employee only has access to level 1 and not level 7. That's where we can make the distinction here in the software. We can also update the software remotely on the device as well. So as new feature updates come out, we can do them maybe one by one or per group or per location, however we want to do that. We can also see maybe what version software each device has here. So as we see, there's a newer version in one unit versus the other. So we can go through and be able to see, troubleshooting if there's maybe an issue from there. We also have information like IP address, MAC address, and other device-specific information. We can also power cycle, shut down, restart, and reset the device remotely from this management software tool. And we can also open a door remotely if we have that configured and set up within the system. There's a whole host of other features I won't get into the weeds with under device details and some of these other windows, but we can really set a lot of different advanced parameters on the device remotely using this software, which can be very helpful. I'm going to note in attendance management, if you want to use this additional feature, this is where you can create different shifts for employees if you want to start tracking attendance for specific shifts and times. You can also create public holidays shifts as well. So maybe your building's closed certain hours of the day for certain holidays with limited access to certain personnel. That's where you can make that distinction here. In attendance records and statistics is where we'll be able to pull specific reports based on tracking attendance. What's also useful is we can export this information into an Excel table and be able to use that maybe with another system or other tracking purposes as well. In personnel management is another very useful tool within this software that allows us to bulk upload existing employee databases or make single editions of a new employee personnel. We can also group those employees within specific groups. So maybe you have maybe a group for HR employees or front desk personnel or security, et cetera. And you want to have those groups have specific rights, permissions, and levels within your facilities as they walk through these different devices, granting them access maybe to level 1 or 2, et cetera. It's really where a lot of this advanced setup configuration can be made. This is also where you'd be able to upload a photo on the network for these devices to use for facial recognition. If you're not using this software, it's not required for facial recognition. If you're just using standalone mode, you would just upload that picture directly to the device locally. But this is a very useful tool if you want to manage a wider system of employees or personnel, which is very helpful. There's a lot of detailed information we'd be able to put in here that allows us a bit more of management capability across the platform. Visitor management is also, it operates very similarly to employee management, but really meant for your visitors and guests. So this is where maybe if you have a guest waiting to come into your facilities and ahead of time they provide you some basic information. Now when they come up and get scanned, they'll be able to get checked in and registered into the facility, maybe with specific access privileges that you gave them. You can also group different visitors too, so maybe different classes of visitors, et cetera, as well. You can also export all the information I'm showing you here, maybe to another Excel sheet that you want to leverage for other uses or other systems too. Restricted management operates similarly to visitor employees, but really for people you maybe don't want to have access or limited restricted access inside of your facilities as well. In pass management, this is essentially where all of the records will be stored from all of the devices locally inside the server or cloud that will allow you to export these records, maybe with specific date and time parameters, and pull specific reports. So if you know that maybe location A with these 3 devices, there was information you wanted to pull from that, maybe for your own contact tracing strategy, you could export these specific records and maybe interface those with other data sets that you want to leverage. But we can pull these reports based on employee, visitor, strangers, maybe whether or not they passed or failed within a specific metric, or what type of access they were given to the facility, whether that's through face recognition, an ID card, or an IC card, granting them access, which is helpful. A few other features without getting too deep in the weeds with this software, which is very helpful from an IT management perspective, is we can create different usernames. So we can start delegating permissions, rights, and access into the software that I'm showing you here. So maybe you have a front desk person who you want to manage that front desk door in that specific device with maybe limited access to features. This is where you'll be able to set up that new user with limited access to that one device, with just the ability to turn on or off certain features or allow access remotely. You can also create different user groups that have, similar rights and permission levels, which really allows you, as you expand this maybe throughout your enterprise or throughout your organization, just really helping how you manage and operate this system, which is very helpful. In business management, is another really useful tool I want to go over is allowing you to create new companies within the software. So if you maybe are a real estate organization and you have multiple organizations who operate independently inside of your facility, you can provide them, certain rights and permission level access into the software here as well, allowing them to, take control of specific devices, allowing entry and exit of their shop as well. What's also useful as a new feature, we actually now have email notifications within this system. So we can now allow for an abnormal temperature reading to trigger an email to be able to be sent out to maybe a specific group of emails for security purposes or what have you. We can also send attendance records too if you want to use that feature via email, which is very helpful. But that really concludes my overview presentation of the software and the device hardware. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint here. And that should be showing now as well. So I'm going to pass this on over back to John, and we'll be able to go over some questions you might have.
Well, all right, that's awesome stuff. Thank you very much, Zach. We appreciate you walking through us the Welcome-Check software and the many ways it can help solve some real challenges to our customers right now. So let's take a few moments to answer some questions. There have been a number of questions coming across the Q&As, and we have a good amount of time to see what we can get to. Zach, what OS does the devices run on?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. The device runs on an Android operating system as a base OS, and then it's a custom version of Android built for this software to operate.
And you mentioned the audio prompts. Can you turn off the audio prompts in the settings?
Yes, you can. You can turn off the audio prompt and voice command so that is completely can be toggled on or off based on how you want this to work.
All right, thank you, Zach. I've got another question here about multiple unit site, and that question would be, please speak to our ability to have multiple 10+ units on site. Would our users need to register at each kiosk for facial recognition, or can all records be stored in one central database that all kiosks query against?
Yeah, so the way the system works is if you upload, it's going to depend on how you set up maybe day 1 to day 60. But if you're using the management software and you upload via the software for maybe a facial recognition photo, that'll be stored either on the cloud or server, and it will sync with the device hardware. So when that device then is connected to the network, it'll do an auto sync, having that facial recognition photo either on the device and the server to be able to cross correlate to one another to make sure it has the most accurate and up-to-date information. So the processing of the facial recognition is happening on the device. So you're going to want to have that as real time as possible, which is why that face photo would be stored on the device locally.
All right, let's get to another question. Going back to the facial recognition, do we have to upload a picture in order for the device to read the temperature of the employee?
Can you repeat that one more time? Just to make sure I understand it.
Do we have to upload a picture in order for the device to read the temperature of the employee?
No, you do not. You do not have to. Facial recognition is not required for the device to operate. So If you don't want facial recognition to function, and you just want, you know, an employee to be recognized maybe via an IC card that's built into the device, you can have that toggled within the personnel ID number. We are currently, as of right now, under future development here to add the option to turn off facial recognition photos showing up in scan records for employee management that I showed in the software. So you can just strictly use an employee ID number to be registered in a scan record and not a photo. But as of right now, if you want that to work, you'll need to be using a ID badge card reader.
So we're getting a number of questions about timing between people being scanned. So what is the pause time between scans? And I guess that goes to the next question is, what do you think, how many people could be scanned in 10 minutes?
Yeah, so I'll start with the second one to bleed into the first question there. Every application is very different. Where these devices can be placed is in an application is really any building with a door and someone coming through them. So the applications vary significantly, and as such, each strategy and guideline of how you implement these products are going to be very different. So I can't necessarily speak strictly to how fast 10 people can come through the device. It's going to be a little bit based on your application and guidelines. But what I can say, as I showed in the live demonstration, I have it set up doing all 3 of those scans within about 2 seconds. Now, if you have it integrated with other products and other systems, I would anticipate there's likely a little bit more of a delay as you're having to send information out for it to be received into those other systems. And as those systems are built out, you're introducing, you know, other variables to it. So that'll have to come within your own testing and guidelines.
All right, Zach, speaking of other systems, when integrating with existing access control systems, does the device act as a badge reader and check credentials against the existing database, or do you have to load sync employee credentials into the device system separately?
So it's going to depend on your configuration a bit. You know, third-party integrations are available for additional costs. As of right now, System API would have to be written for custom third-party card access reading systems. How that information is trafficked is really going to depend on how the software hooks and integrations occur when you're setting that up, which may be custom. On day one, right now with the system, again, this is all new technology, we're moving very quick with it. But on day one, we would require managing our database tie-in if you're using facial recognition. So again, those photos are going to have to be, you know, scanned and processed on the device locally for that level of speed to be managed appropriately. Now, if you're referencing, you know, an external card door access system where you're not using facial recognition, those hooks and tie-ins again to those third-party scanners are going to have to be made and probably custom written for that product to ensure that it works that way. Maybe in a day 60 type scenario.
Zach, is there a limit to the number of people that could be in the system at one time?
In terms of user name or user access into the backend software, I honestly have not been asked that question yet, so I don't know. I haven't gone down that question, but I can certainly note that here as a follow-up question and pass it back over to the team to be able to distribute the answer to.
And then we've been getting a lot of security type questions. So what about, are you able to choose not to store data or perhaps purge the data at the end of each day?
So the data is also going to be dependent on what you're scanning for. So you can certainly delete and purge data from the records of the database. and how you want those intervals to be set will be set up, as you're administering the system. If you have facial recognition turned on, it is going to grab a photo of the person being scanned. If you have stranger records turned on, like we do here for the demonstration, if you have stranger mode and stranger records turned on, it's going to grab a photo of the person that's getting scanned, so you have that information to be able to maybe import them as an employee or visitor if you want to use that data. If you have stranger records turned off, it won't be grabbing that information of someone coming up and getting scanned, so then you're not even having that data set. But yeah, if you want to implement your own data policies, we've been able to meet all the different HIPAA guidelines so far, working with government hospital agencies as well in the last few months here. So for those policies, it's going to be a little bit based on configuration and how you want that to work. But yes, yeah, they can be toggled and cleaned however you want that to work.
Thank you. Boy, the questions just keep coming, Zach. Let's see. Let's pick. Let's see. What do we got here? Somebody wants to know about the accuracy of the facial recognition based solely off of a photo.
Yeah, so the system does. So if I come up to the device with a picture of myself instead of me, it will not scan for facial recognition. So you cannot dupe the system using a picture, if that's the question, and kind of answer it maybe in a different way if the question was asked this way. Using a photo, you need to upload a 640 by 480 image. It needs to be a clean background, no artifacts, no hats being worn, no excessive makeup, and no glasses or anything like that as well, covering the face, so it can have a data point. The way the facial recognition works, and again, this group has very advanced artificial intelligence built into the product, is that picture then gets scanned and becomes a string of data that is then cross-correlated and referenced to. The accuracy is about, going off of memory a little bit, it's about a 97.1 to N factor, which is very high for facial recognition in that world. So it works pretty well, which is why it's also being able to scan so quickly, as well as if you have a clean photo uploaded.
All right, and we have a question about an application for it being outdoor rated, an IP66 rated, so it can be installed at an outdoor entry guard station.
Yeah, so we are not advertising the product as an outdoor product. It is IP65 rated, but it does not have some of the other things that we would look for a fully enclosed outdoor rated device. So something to note as well is it does require an ambient temperature calibration when it boots up. So one major cool part about this product, and compared to other products out there, is we don't require a daily calibration or daily black body calibration of the device. So when the system boots up, it will take about a 20-minute, 30-minute auto calibration of the ambient room environment that it's in, and then it'll be able to correlate accurate temperatures from there. So if it is outdoors, that temperature swing is constantly changing. You may have inaccurate temperatures if you're putting it outdoors as well.
All right, there's a question here about warranty. I'll answer that question. The unit comes with a 1-year warranty. We have an advanced replacement warranty as part of the 1-year welcome check subscription that's included with the unit. We'll discuss pricing slightly here in a minute. And let's take one last question. Can you explain visitor scanning just a bit more?
Sure. Yeah. So if you have a visitor database set up, if you're using facial recognition as a parameter to scan someone in, if it's an accurate photo, it meets the guidelines when someone comes up and gets scanned. It will then, be able to register them as having access, maybe to the door or maybe through the facility, and you'll be able to use the database and scan records to be able to see, what visitors are maybe in your building or when they checked in or maybe when they checked out. Depending on how you have the system configured, it can act as a entry system. So when you're entering the building, it can scan you, or it can log you when you're scanning out, or for advanced configuration requiring some other parameters and setups, you can have it set up to a check-in, check-out type system for guest check-in and check-out. When you're setting up a user, you can, again, maybe a visitor only has access to level 1 and not level 7. That's where it can also be very useful to provide certain access restrictions.
All right,
Hopefully that
thank you,
answers
Zach.
the question. But yeah, it can be a very useful feature. Again, this device on day 1, temperature scanning, facial recognition out of the box. But what you can do with it, maybe as you grow with the system, it can be pretty advanced or as simple as you want it to be.
All right, thank you, Zach. I want to thank everyone for all their questions. For anyone who did not get a question answered, we have a log of all the questions, and we'll be sure to make sure that we get back with you in order to answer the questions that you pose. So, pricing, we have a variety of pricing options available. Prices start at $2,484 per device. That starts with the wall device and go from there. A Spinitar account manager. These are our folks that are here at Spinitar assisting our customers with our day-to-day technology solutions. They'll be following up with everyone on the call today to give you these different options that are available for pricing and quantity, and see if Spinitar's Welcome-Check will be a good fit for you and the needs of your employees, students, and customers' wellness and safety concerns, while at the same time meeting the requirements of any state or local safety guidelines. All right, to wrap this up, to our customers and prospective customers on the line, again, thank you very much for joining us. And while our time was short, I hope you were able to connect the many use cases of our Welcome-Check product to your challenges and how this solution may benefit your organization as we find our new normal and implement our return to work plans. So on that note, this concludes our Welcome-Check demo. And thank you again, Zach, for presenting, and all of you for attending. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you, and be safe.